It's boycott fever out there, folks. Disney, let's see, Bud Light, Target. Can we go down the list? Now there's a new company that's being boycotted, but not in the way you might think. Here's the article out of the Gateway Pundit. Conservatives have engaged in a very successful boycott of Bud Light over the company's blatant political agenda, but now it looks like the left has found its own boycott target after famed fast food giant In-N-Out Burger has made them mad. The fast food giant has garnered the ear of the left by telling employees that the coronavirus crisis is over and there is no longer reason to wear masks in the workplace. They're a California company, privately owned, and of course California is like probably 2 years behind everybody else when it comes to getting with the program. I mean, they were still wearing masks out there, really? You know, I came to visit in this county from California when I was out there during the uh, heart of the scamdemic. Okay, when everything was shut down, and people were going around to the different stores and stuff freely, and a lot of them were not wearing masks during the mask wearing mandates. Now California is finally, well, at least one company is finally starting to catch up. By the way, In-N-Out Burger is a much loved food company out there. But the article says, frankly, why shouldn't the burger be behemoth? There are no reputable studies that show mask prevents the transmission of viruses. Masks just don't work, according to this article. Well, you know, I have a fence in my backyard back here. I'm sure it keeps the mosquitoes out. I mean, it's got to work. Leftist Dr. Lucky Tran, really, that's his name, Lucky Tran, was incensed enough to start a massive emphasis on the word like massive, Twitter thread in which he wailed, interesting choice of word, he wailed, well, about the burger company and urged his leftist followers to attack them with what? With tanks? With M16s? No, with tweets and messages on the company's websites. We're going to attack you with tweets. Tran, who calls himself a global scientist and is a mask zealot, was unhappy when a court in the state of California ruled that employees cannot sue their employers if they get COVID-19 in the workplace. Well, that's a positive thing coming out of California. Well, Tran then noted that this week In-N-Out Burger banned their employees from wearing masks. This is horrible, he whined. Not only did they say, well, they didn't say it was optional. No, you're not wearing masks in our workplace. Okay, so all you conservatives in California, you know what to do. 1 week ago, a court in California ruled that employees, this is the tweet by Dr. Lucky Tran, they're showing the tweet. Anyway, it's going to repeat what I told you before. So, then he says this, Tran says this, businesses like In-N-Out Burger are banning staff from wearing masks unless they provide a medical note. So they flipped it opposite. By the way, In-N-Out Burger is a privately Christian-owned company. So support them. Matter of fact, my partner on the TVA podcast, the Vortex Apologetic podcast, he's a big In-N-Out fan. And every time I go out there to visit and we get together, he's like, let's go to In-N-Out. So this year, I'm not going to say, well, no, I can't, my diet, I can't, We're going to In-N-Out. My diet can just go to the wayside. When we go to visit out there this year, we're going in and out. The doctor also began posting links to the burger company's public comments page. You can send, let's see, Dr. Tran, he tweeted this. You can send In-N-Out Burger a comment about their discriminatory policy banning masks here. So now banning masks in the corporate world is discrimination. It's discriminatory. Wow, we've taken the concept of discrimination and really pushed it to its limits, haven't we? Anybody with half a brain knows that that has nothing to do with discrimination. Anyway, here's one, a tweet from It's Babs. It's the name of the person who's tweeting this. Seems like folks should call 1-800-766-1000 to express their disgust at In-N-Out's unwillingness to allow employees the autonomy to protect themselves even when their employer won't. So now you conservatives know what to do. 1-800-766-1000 to express your appreciation for In-N-Out Burger's policy and thank them and say, we support you. All right, so that's the In-N-Out Burger news. There's rumors that have been going around about AMC Studios, that they have been sabotaging the movie Sound of Freedom. This is an article out of, let's see, who's putting this out? I got this was on, I don't think this was Gateway Pundit. I think this was Citizens Free Press. Anyway, AMC CEO slams garbage conspiracy theories about Sound of Freedom theater disruptions. At first I thought, oh, here they go. They're trying to defend themselves. But listen to what the article says. This was put out July the 13th. The CEO of AMC Theaters is shutting down conspiracy theories. I'm getting sick of the term conspiracy theories. How many so-called conspiracy theories are now facts? You know, so stop with the conspiracy theory nonsense. That's a term that was made up by the CIA after the assassination of Kennedy, when the report on his assassination was questioned by people who were showing inconsistencies and problems within the report. And the CIA came up with the term conspiracy theorist to stop the questioning of the report. I can't remember what the name of the report was, but anyway, it's just a term that's just nonsense. It's dumb. So let's move on. Conspiracy theories that AMC has been purposely disrupting screens of Sound of Freedom following accusations that the thriller, it's a true story. Thriller has ties to the QAnon conspiracy movement. All right. If you hear anyone say QAnon together, they don't understand Q and they don't understand Anon. That's your first clue that these people have no clue what they're talking about. If they say QAnon together, and I looked at Wikipedia, and Wikipedia even does it. Wikipedia's become a hack site. It's either Q or it's Anon. It's not QAnon together, okay? Q are the post. The Anons are the people who interpret the post. There's no such thing as QAnon. It's a made-up entity that was made up by the news media. All right. Sadly, conspiracy theorists are so prevalent in America, CEO Adam Aron wrote on Twitter. Well, there is a lot of that going on, but there's a good reason for it. We've been lied to. by the pharmaceutical companies, the government, the news media. It's a pretty good atmosphere to start coming up with alternative viewpoints when it comes to what's happening in the world, which the people who are lying to us will call conspiracy theories. Now, so much garbage information is spread, I agree, by the mainstream media. More than 1 million people have watched Sound of Freedom at AMC theaters. I can't verify that that's true or not true. More than at any other theater chain on the planet. Can't verify that either. Yet people falsely claim otherwise. It is so bizarre. So that was his statement. Now here's the thing that gets me. The article says that Angel Studios, the studio behind the film from director Alejandra Gomez Monteverde, also denied the claims. Quote, "We want to make it clear these rumors are not accurate." Brandon Purdy, head of Angel Theatrical Distribution, said in a statement to EW, adding that AMC has been an outstanding partner. And here's the actual tweet by Adam Aaron, which is what I read you earlier. As a result of the movie's performance and consumer demand, Purdy added, AMC has agreed to add additional screens for Sound of Freedom this weekend. So folks, they felt the pressure. It works. When we the people put the pressure on them, it works. Keep that in mind. So keep the pressure up on these people. All right, Wall Street Journal, and I get a blank. Okay, here we are. Tucker Carlson is creating a new media company, according to the Wall Street Journal. And former Fox News host Tucker Carlson and former White House advisor Neil Patel are seeking to raise funds to start a new media company that would potentially use Twitter as its backbone, according to people familiar with the matter. The new company would be anchored by longer versions of the free videos that Carlson has been posting regularly on Twitter since shortly after his departure from Fox News, but would ultimately be driven by subscriptions, some of the people said. Well, yeah, that's the only way he's going to be able to feed his family, really, at this point. Carlson and Patel are looking to raise hundreds of millions of dollars to fund the company, the people said. Users of Twitter and other platforms would still be able to watch free, shorter versions of his show, interviews and documentaries, but would need to subscribe to watch them in their entirety, the people said. The company would eventually add shows from additional hosts. So this is good news. Carlson's been putting out some really good stuff. So there's an opportunity to get some straight source news, some real news, not the fake crap that's being fed to us by the mainstream media. And so let's hope he's successful with that. Now, earlier there was a leftist scientist saying, you need to wear a mask because it stops viruses, and how dare they not wear masks, right? With the In-N-Out Burger article. Well, remember, they're pushing climate change now because they want to push their agenda of 15-minute cities and all of this kind of thing, right? They want to, you will have nothing and be happy, Klaus Schwab said, right? This is the goal that they're pushing. Well, Nobel winner in science, Dr. John Clauser, there is no climate crisis threatening the planet. Here's a scientist that's pushing back. Nobel laureate in physics, John Clauser, lashed out at the science heretics who continue to push global warming and who threaten the well-being of billions of people. Clauser criticized the prevalent climate models as being unreliable and not accounting for the dramatic temperature stabilizing feedback of clouds. which he says is more than 50 times as powerful as the radiative forcing effect of CO2. Klauser believes there is no climate crisis threatening the planet. Dr. Patrick Moore, a co-founder of Greenpeace, retweeted Dr. Klauser's recent statements this week. So, Dr. John F. Klauser, Nobel Prize in Physics. This is a tweet by Patrick Moore. Dr. John F. Klauser, Nobel Prize in Physics 2022, pulls no punches in his critique of the climate crisis hoax. He is now a board member of the CO2 Coalition. Read his facts about clouds roll in temperature, 50 times stronger than CO2. That'd be clouds up in the sky. So, Dr. John F. Klauser, joint recipient of the 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics, has criticized the climate emergency narrative, calling it, quote, a dangerous corruption of science that threatens the world's economy and the well-being of billions of people, end quote. Along with two others, Dr. Klauser, an experimental and theoretical physicist, was the 2022 recipient of the Nobel Prize for work done in the 1970s that showed quantum entanglement allowed particles such as photons effectively to interact at great distances. I read about this years ago. It's fascinating. Anyway, seemingly to require communication exceeding the speed of light. What happens with one photon over here on this side of the universe over here, which a photon is actually smaller than an atom, it's quantum physics, remember, affects a photon on this side of the universe over here, thousands, millions of light years away. Isn't God's creation absolutely amazing? He has criticized the awarding of the 2021 Nobel Prize for work in the development of computer models predicting global warming, according to a coalition of scientists and commentators who argued that an informed discussion about CO2 would recognize its importance in sustaining planet life. In a statement issued by the CO2 Coalition, Nobel laureate John Klauser, elected to CO2 Coalition Board of Directors, CO2 Coalition Dr. Klauser said that, quote, there is no climate crisis and that increasing CO2 concentrations will benefit the world, end quote. He criticized the prevalent climate models as being unreliable. I've been saying that for years, and not accounting for the dramatic temperature stabilizing feedback of clouds, which he says is more than 50 times as powerful as the radioactive forcing effect of CO2. Now, there's an opposite effect of CO2 if we're not careful. If CO2 goes too far down, it could threaten our existence on this planet. It has to stay within a very, very fine parameter there. All right. So just running through a few things in the Gateway Pundit. Now, some of that's from the Gateway Pundit. Some of those articles were from Citizens Free Press, if you want to know where the sources are. Okay, looking through. Okay, yeah, there's two explosions apparently this week that occurred. Massive explosion rocks Dow chemical plant in Louisiana. And there was a report, I think in Citizens Free Press, of an explosion in Russia concerning a uranium plant. One person killed, hundreds injured in that one. And let's see what about this explosion in Louisiana. Multiple explosions and fires occurred at the Dow chemical plant in Plaquemine, Louisiana, late Friday night. So it doesn't say anything about injuries or anyone being killed in the explosion. Don't say anything on that. Just a video of the explosion. There's a pretty big fireball there. Go to the Gateway Pundit and check it out. Yeah, it's a pretty big. That's a pretty big fireball. So unknown what caused it as far as I can see. So, quote, Dow's Emergency Operations Center is working closely with local and state agencies to respond to the incident. Um, all personnel are safe and accounted for, so that's good news. Air monitoring has not detected hazardous materials in the air. That's good news. So, but what's going on with these explosions and stuff? You can become so cynical with the lies that we're being told every day that there's somebody sabotaged or something. But we can't make those assumptions. We have to wait and see what comes out. So there's a Florida county GOP that declared COVID-19 and mRNA COVID vaccine to be a bioweapon. Well, let's see what this is out of the Gateway Pundit. A Brevard, Brevard, Brevard County Republican Executive Committee has passed a resolution in a landslide vote to ban the mRNA COVID-19 vaccine, deeming it and the virus a biological and technological weapon. The committee is now soliciting support from registered Republicans in the county, state lawmakers, Florida's congressional delegation, and Governor Ron DeSantis. So I think this is the first time I've seen this come out to the public in this way. Many have been saying this for the last 3.5 years, but some were listening and some were saying, "Oh, it's just a bunch of conspiracy theories." By the way, since Tucker Carlson gave his vaccination status, he said, "I have had 0 vaccinations. I'll give mine. I've had 0 vaccinations. I did not take any of them." Passengers scream at United Air agent after their locked off plane and watch their bags fly off to Omaha. Oh boy. Okay, I bet you they were upset about that. Wonder why. Why were they locked out? If you think traveling by air is a nightmare, try traveling through O'Hara, which is in Chicago. I've been through O'Hara. It's a huge airport on United Airlines sometime. As reported earlier last night, a tornado watch. That's right, they did have a tornado watch there. Forced all planes to unload and every single passenger in the international airport to leave their gate and move to Terminal C until the storm passed. Thousands of passengers were moved down 2 flights of stairs to a safe level at the airport surrounded by windows. Apparently, I guess one of the planes took off with people's luggage without them on it. After the weather cleared in about 30 minutes, the good folks at O'Hara then forced every single passenger at the airport to go through security a second time. Okay, all right. Well, more Fourth Amendment violations. But here we go. The line was endless. I bet it was. There were thousands lined up to get through security to reboard their flights. It took over an hour at 10:30 at night. To top it off, after half the passengers, including us, made it to the gate at 11:45 p.m., United Airlines closed the door. The plane sat on the tarmac for another 10 minutes as more and more passengers made it through security and to the gate. Then the plane took off at the rescheduled time of 11:55 p.m. with everyone's luggage. Now that's what I call efficiency. Oh my goodness. The idiocy of irrational fear. Okay? Don't make me go into it, but all of these heavy precautions at airports based upon the events of 9/11 is really based on irrational fear. 9/11 is not what most people think it is. So we'll leave it there. Netanyahu was rushed to a hospital after losing consciousness. Apparently he's okay. Homan, fighting back against smart cities. From San Diego to North Idaho to Wyoming, residents are getting fed up with the growing surveillance network, modeled after that of communist China. Let's get into this article and then we'll end it with a little commentary. See, the digitization, the digitization, I guess that's a word. The digitization of transportation is kicking into high gear. I reported on my Substack recently. This is, who's this by? Leo Homan. On his Substack recently about a citizen backlash in San Diego. Go San Diego! I lived there for 38 years, folks. Over that city's plans to embed mass surveillance technology along highways at intersections, light poles, and so forth. Good for them for pushing back. So-called smart city technology includes ultra-high resolution, internet connected cameras, license plate readers, facial recognition scanners, and speakers. It will set the framework for digital eyes and ears to spy on citizens 24/7, uploading personal data in real time to be perused and analyzed by law enforcement, financial decision makers, and other third-party stakeholders. I reported on June 28 on how the Atlanta airport, in cooperation with Delta Airlines, is offering specialized hands-free and card-free services to air passengers who agreed to take a biometric digital ID driver's license containing a facial scan. But I also discovered that American citizens are having their faces scanned by facial recognition software, often without their permission, before they board international flights, leaving not just Atlanta, but many other U.S. airports. The tools of the surveillance state, however, are not just being installed in major cities and international airports. And so it goes on into more and more of this going on. So it seems there's a backlash. People don't like this idea of a 15-minute city and a lot of surveillance. So good. Let's hope that continues. All right, let me end it with this. All of this talk about worldwide apocalypse, take it with a grain of salt. It's based upon erroneous understanding of Bible prophecy, and it's based upon things that are being put out by Klaus Schwab and so forth for their attempt to bring the world under their control. And I don't believe that they're going to be successful in that. And I believe that these are erroneous stirring up of people by the erroneous understanding of Bible prophecy is stirring a lot of this up among Christians. And I'm just going to say, I'll do more on this later, but be careful with that. All right, I'll catch you guys later, and have a good one.